Elon Musk marked the launch of Space Force with a two-word tweet: Starfleet begins. Science Alert reports, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk welcomed the launch of Space Force, the newest U.S. military service, with a Star Trek-themed tweet, Starfleet begins. On Friday, President Donald Trump signed a National Defense Authorization Act NDAA, U.S. $738 billion bipartisan defense spending bill. Part of the NDAA authorizes the Space Force as a military service under the Department of the Air Force. It's the first military service introduced since the U.S. Air Force spun off from the U.S. Army in 1947. Trump first floated a Space Force initiative in March 2018 in his speech. A similar bipartisan proposal for a Space Corps was introduced in the House in 2017 and was cut from a previous NDAA. Musk, whose SpaceX has contracts with NASA and has worked with the U.S. Air Force, has shown support for Space Force. In 2018, he told Recod's Kara Swisher that Space Force is a sensible thing to do. Quote, "Well, this may be a little controversial, but I actually like the idea." End quote. This is what he said in an interview. He said, "I think it's cool. You know, like when the Air Force was formed, there was a lot of like poo-hooing and like, oh, how silly to have an Air Force. And you know, because the aircraft in World War II were managed by the Army. The overall mission, as defined by Space Force, includes developing military space professionals, acquiring military space systems, maturing the military doctrine for space power, and organizing space forces to present to our competent commands. But it will not be a large force. Air Force Space Command was immediately redesigned to space, designating the Space Force and 16,000 active duty civilian personnel from AFSPC will now be assigned to the Space Force, according to Defense News. The personnel will still technically be part of the Air Force unless they request transfer permanently to Space Force, and that number is expected to be somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 according to CNN. The Space Force will not be measured by the number of people, unlike, for instance, the Marine Corps, which is really a labor-intensive service. The Air Force Secretary Barbara Barrett said, "Space Force is much more measured by the technology and the capabilities." This is from Business Insider. It's on Science Alert by Sarah Gray. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, and Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.